Welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment of our program is brought to you by Scrambled Jakes. Just a terrific place to start your day, whether it's a weekday, weekend, or holiday. Enjoy half-price mimosas on New Year's Day this Friday. Half-price mimosas at Scrambled Jakes. Make sure somebody else is driving. And you can always call ahead with your order or order takeout food online. Scrambled Jakes in Rocky Hill, a great place to go, especially New Year's Day. Check them out. Okay. Guys, let's go with the negative first. Tennessee's off to a 6-0 start. There aren't a lot of weaknesses that you would point to. Rick Barnes is always quick to find one or two that he'll throw out there. This week he let it be known that some of his veterans weren't playing as consistently as he would like. What do you look at with this team and you say, okay, here's a weakness that I'm going to keep my eye on for this year. This could come back to burn them at some point. Anyone?
I wonder, can they shoot consistently well enough, which is a common question you ask in college basketball. So I don't think that's too different for Tennessee compared to others. But still, if you're going to be playing at that elite level, if you have a night where you're not shooting well, and even if you're really good on defense, which I guess we'll probably get to, then it could cost you. They have guys that can shoot, so the potential is still there. But consistent shooting throughout the season is my biggest question.
And they have some guys that like to shoot, like Victor Bailey.
And I think that showed up in the first few games, although you might counter that with you were playing so many different players, maybe it was hard to find the continuity. But I do think that's an issue, is the outside shooting. And sometimes I do wonder if you have to get that basket inside. In the past, when you had Grant Williams to go to, I like Fulkerson, but I don't know that I think he's at Grant Williams' level. I think sometimes that could be an issue, was scoring inside when you have to get that basket.
Chuck, anything stand out to you as a weakness?
Well, the one I'd mentioned before was being able to keep that assist number up there. With this much talent, as long as you're sharing the basketball and you can get that assist number up there, assist to turnover is a key stat for this team. And as long as that number, if you get double-digit assist, you could compete with just about anybody you play all season long.
I'll be Mr. Nice Guy. I'll throw out the positives. Let's go to the strengths of this team. Clearly, defense. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is a boa constrictor-like defense. I mean, there were people complaining that they only won by 20 the other night against South Carolina Upstate because they hit some threes.
But the line was 34.
Well, yeah. Overall,
there's one person who's complaining.
There was a complainer, yeah.
That's one doing the complaining.
Overall, though, there's not much to worry about with this defense. I think this could be his best defensive team, which is saying something. He's had a couple of good defensive teams. I think their athleticism, which we're going to get to in the next segment, is just off the charts. Mm-hmm. One thing that's impressed me so far, and you wondered about it with all the new guys coming in, the 5 stars, what's the chemistry? What's the attitude going to be? People getting minutes, not getting minutes, how's that going to play out? All right, the rotation isn't completely set. We'll see that come about in the SEC play as you figured things out. You haven't had any bad times, and they come for every team and every season. But still, even though there could be cracks to show at some point, right now the attitude and chemistry on this team looks fantastic. It was a concern of mine coming in when you had that many new players that are that hot shot on the charts in terms of recruiting stuff. I haven't seen any hiccups at all. They look like a team that's really tight in terms of liking each other, playing together, sharing the basket, sharing the ball. I like what I see out of their chemistry and attitude.
I agree 100%, and I think that's part of the culture of what Rick Barnes has built. And the other thing about that, when you're talking about how good they are on defense, they do. A lot of people talk about, well, he can guard 1 to 5, and sometimes that's an exaggeration. But I do think Tennessee's got some players that can do that, which allows him to switch off, which I think makes them a better defensive team. I think that defense will be the best defense he's had at Tennessee.
You got to wonder a little bit if you run into somebody that can really push the tempo like Auburn did last year and try to take a shot in 7 seconds. If somebody can hit some threes against Tennessee and start making them play from behind, that'll be interesting to see how they respond. Because I think that's how you got to attack Tennessee. You don't let them set up defense. You try and beat them back down court and shoot before they get there.
Josh, any strengths that you want to touch on that we haven't mentioned? Anything?
Yeah, I would just add to it with the defense. One thing that's always going to help is the effort is, I think, almost always going to be there, because if a player is not giving what Rick Barnes or his staff want to see, you can easily pull that guy. So like the freshmen coming in, Keon Johnson and Jaden Springer, who've come in off the bench, They don't come in as typical five-star freshmen do, where they just know they're going to have the playing time and they're going to get to go through the motions at different times. If they do that, well, then they'll just go back to the bench and you'll play some of the other guards. So the depth is real, which challenges the veterans and the young talented players.
Well, and it helps to have some veterans there too, because sometimes when you just bring in nothing but young guys, it doesn't work. Kentucky! When we come back, we will take a look at this Tennessee roster compared to 3 of the best teams of the last 20 years. Let's say we got a 4-team tournament. Does this team win it versus some of these past great ball teams? We'll show you the rosters. We'll debate that next. Come on back on the Sports Source.